Well, hello and welcome back. Today we have a battle of a mature scent versus a younger scent. It's a matchup. And on your left we have Dior Sauvage EDT, Eau de Toilette. And on your right we have Versace Eros, Eau de Toilette. And the Sauvage, that was released in 2015, and the Eros was released in 2012. It's hard to believe it's over 10 years old. And then on the opening for the Dior Sauvage, you get an cool scent, which is like an aromatic lemony bergamot. On the opening for the Versace Eros, you get an aromatic mint. I get some ginger in there, and it's a cooling scent. I'm going to refer a lot to the Fragrantica notes, and it's a good reference, but a lot of times I don't agree with them, and sometimes I do agree with them. But it's a good second reference, just in case you miss something. And also, you don't have to agree with what they say. It's really up to your own nose. The best indication is what you sense in your own nose. That is what you want to go by and what you want to ultimately purchase. It's your own hard-earned money that you're going to be spending, so you go by what's in your own nose and preference versus what you read on online at a website. Okay, moving on to the mids for the Dior Sauvage. Some vetiver and patchouli and geranium come in, yet still retaining the aromatic, cool bergamot. And then the Fragrantica notes mention a note called Elemi, spelled E-L-E-M-I. And I had to look that up. It's a resin and balsam. It says Elemi has a very fresh, spicy, piney, balsamic smell with its citrus facet. Oh, interesting. Anyway, if you don't know what a balsamic smell is, I have to look that up also. I know what a balsamic salad dressing is, but I wanted to look up what balsamic means for a fragrance. And the definition of a balsamic note is having a soothing, balmy, warm, even animalic or slightly medicinal scent. And so going back to Elemi, I think that fits the Dior Sauvage mid very well. It's got adds a little complexity to the midsection. And on the mid for the Versace Eros, you still retain the aromatic mint, ginger, cooling scent. And then what comes in is a slight green apple. And then Fragrantica notes that there's some ambroxan and tonka bean that comes in, but I don't get that at all. So that's where I disagree with Fragrantica. You may want to test it out yourself at the store, fragrance store, and it'd be interesting to see if you get any of that ambroxan or tonka bean with the Versace Eros EDT. If you do, or if you don't, why don't you comment down in the comment section and let me know what you think. And then on to the settle down phase for the Dior Sauvage. You get the ambroxan that leads to a lot of the complexity, not only the Elemi, but you get the famous ambroxan, Dior Sauvage ambroxan. And ambroxan elements include musk, amber, animalic smells. It's a modern synthetic compound with a dry, amber, musky smell. And that all came from Fragrantica notes. There may be a little bit of cedarwood in the background, but it mostly retains a lot of the elements of the opening and the midsection, so it's still the cool aromatic bergamot, vetiver, patchouli, and geranium and ambroxan. Now, going to the settle phase for the Versace Eros, you get a little bit of vanilla, but here's where I disagree with Fragrantica notes again. It lists vanilla as a in the main accord note stack, names vanilla as a big note, but I don't get a lot of vanilla out of Versace Eros EDT. I get a little bit on the settle down phase, but I don't get it a lot as Fragrantica has noted to be in the accord stack. And then I do get a little bit of the oak moss in the background, so I do agree with Fragrantica on that. And let's move on to performance. The Dior Sauvage, I would say it's a great performer. It settles on the skin after about 15 minutes and will last about 6 to 8 hours, if not more. And it also has a great sillage, so it's a great performer. The performance on the Versace Eros, I would say it's an okay performer. It settles on the skin 5 to 10 minutes and will last you about 4 to 6 hours. And the sillage is good, but it's an okay performer. And then moving on to the masculinity scale, the Dior Sauvage comes up on top with a 10 out of 10. It's a very masculine scent. You won't mix it up as a feminine scent at all. And then on the Versace Eros, the masculinity scale, I give it a 6 out of 10 since it's got that minty, sweet, cooling kind of scent, and it can be worn by a woman, but it's definitely a masculine scent. So I give it a 6 out of 10 on the masculinity scale. Moving on to price, even though Dior Sauvage was released in 2015, has been out for a few years, it's still at a designer price. For 100 mil, you're going to be paying about $100, around that price point. And then I was surprised from what I was looking around for the Versace Eros on the pricing. It's been out over 10 years, and the current pricing is on the lower designer to designer price. So we're looking at about $75 to $100. I thought it'd be lower. So maybe if you look around and have a discount code or something, and you look at the discounter sites, you may get lower than the pricing that I just mentioned. If I remember correctly, I got my Versace for a lower price than that. So look around for better pricing on the Versace Eros. And then in conclusion for the Dior Sauvage, you get a very modern, complex, and mature scent that's very popular and is wildly a bestseller. And I was at a what do you call it? What's that store called inside Kohl's? I forgot the name of the store that's inside Kohl's. But anyway, I remember I was in the men's fragrance section, and a woman was checking out at the counter, and she was actually buying a woman's perfume, and she was asking the girl at the counter, so is that still the best-selling men's cologne? And then she was pointing at the Dior Sauvage, and the girl at the counter said, yeah, that's still one of the best-selling men's colognes, and she was pointing out the Dior Sauvage. And then the conclusion for the Versace Eros EDT, it's fun, great smelling, young and fresh scent, and it's wildly popular also, and for good reasons, and it's also a bestseller. And I would say, in general, if you want a mature, very good smelling, strong performing scent, and that's modern and a little complex or very complex, go with a Dior Sauvage. And it's good quality too, coming from the house of Dior. And then if you want a fun, young, playful scent that's really great smelling, and if you love mint, definitely go for the Versace Eros. And one note on the Dior Sauvage, if you've applied it on your skin, and then after about a couple hours, if you start rubbing it with your hand, you'll retain some of the opening and mid notes again. It'll freshen up the opening and mid section. I don't know, maybe through the rubbing, it activates the molecules of the opening and mid section of the cologne or fragrance. So that's all I have for you right now, and you all take care, and we'll see you later.